It's time for the Dr. Cho Show, the show that helps you understand the latest and safest modern dental techniques for you and your family. You'll become an educated dental consumer and also learn about health trends outside of the dental industry. Here's your host, Dr. Dan Cho.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dr. Cho Show, your number one resource for everything related to your oral health. My name is Dr. Dan, and I wanted to talk about something that, something a lot of people may not have actually really learned or been taught, and that's literally how to brush and clean your teeth. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll tell you how to get over $100 off Oral-B's newest electric toothbrush, the IO. So yeah, let's get right into it. So obviously, you've been to the dentist, you've heard them say, you need to brush, floss, and use mouth rinse, that sort of thing. But I do find that often there are patients who have never really been told how to do this, what to do, some of the specifics behind it. So we'll kind of get into each of these ones. One by one. So brushing, obviously brushing, the main goal of brushing is to remove the plaque buildup that occurs in teeth every day. There's obviously bacteria that are on your teeth, and from eating just regular foods every day, the bacteria end up metabolizing that food, and they will leave plaque behind and leave a biofilm on your teeth, which causes cavities. So you have to brush all that junk off of there. So brushing, what you really want to do is use obviously a toothbrush, and go in a circular motion, kind of angled at about a 30 to 45 degree angle to the gums, and kind of go in an oval motion, kind of brushing back and forth. You do want to spend a general thumb is you do want to spend about 2 minutes 30 seconds per quadrant, upper right, upper left, lower right, of course, cleaning the teeth and trying to make sure that you clean everything. Now the area of brushing is going to vary. For adults, you really want to focus along the gum line. A little bit kind of on top of the teeth, but the gum line is where you're going to be kind of getting most prone to getting cavities. For children, it's a little bit of both, but kids tend to get a lot more cavities on top of the teeth. In between the teeth, yes, but it's kind of on that biting surface. So kids, you also want to make sure that you brush away the biting surface to get off any food debris or anything like that. And so hard versus soft, I'm not even sure why they have hard or medium bristles. Really, you should be using some soft bristles, and that's because while the general rule of thumb, or the thought I should say, is that if somebody has a hard tooth, hard bristles, oh well, the harder I scrub, the more that the teeth will actually be cleaner. Well, I mean, that's, I guess, sort of true in some sense, but the thing about it is you can really cause a lot of damage to the gums cells. You can cause more recession. There's a lot of other issues and problems that can cause, and really your goal is to just remove the soft plaque, which you don't need a hard bristles to do that. You just really need something that's soft. Electric versus manual, really the way that I look at it is electric in pretty much every situation is going to be better. Take for example, hand tools. What's going to work better, a electric screwdriver, electric drill, or a hand drill or hand screwdriver. I mean, every single time, you're going to get fatigue. If you use something that's manual, it's harder. It requires more manual dexterity. You have to pay a lot more closer attention. And electric just overall works better. Now, as far as the studies go for the different types of brands or whatnot, it really depend, because there are studies that have come out for the different brands, and the two most popular are going to be Sonicare and Oral-B. And each of them, I've talked to each of the reps, each of them has said that, hey, their own brand is going to be better, which obviously makes sense. And so honestly, for me, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You use whichever one is going to work the best in your hands, and which one is going to fit your budget the best, and which one is going to overall work the best for you. Honestly, that could be a manual toothbrush, because really, truthfully speaking, at the end of the day, For me, the only thing I care about is whether or not did you get off the plaque. You can do that with you can do that with a manual toothbrush. I mean, I'm being a little sarcastic, but if you can actually brush it all off with, cat hair, great. At the end of the day, if you can remove all the plaque and the biofilm, your teeth are going to be healthy. So, guys, I don't really have a big preference. Definitely using an electric, in my opinion, is definitely going to be better than a manual. So, flossing. So, flossing is kind of one of those things where a lot of people do know and realize that they probably should be doing it a lot more. And as an adult, flossing is just as important. I mean, honestly, it could be argued that it's even more important than brushing. And the truth of the matter is that as good as brushing is, it doesn't get in between your teeth. It just doesn't. You have to use a piece of floss, something physical, piece of string. I'll get to water flossers in just a second, but you have to use a physical piece of string to actually go in between the teeth to clean it effectively. Otherwise, it's just is not going to work. And there's really, the technique is that you don't want to have the floss too taut. You don't want to have you want to have a little bit of slack because it's supposed to wrap around. If you can imagine like a C, you do want it to kind of wrap around the tooth a little bit. You pop it down, go up and down a couple of times off of one tooth, and then move it to the adjacent tooth. Go up and down a couple of times, rinse and repeat for every single tooth. I mean, flossing is, overall really not that technique sensitive, but the main thing that you're trying to do is you do want to clean the actual tooth itself. You don't want to just have it go straight down in between the teeth because that'll jam into the gums and that can be a little uncomfortable. So, as far as the brands or the different types, there actually is, there are some studies that have shown that the thicker kind of waxy type actually is shown to have better cleaning ability than the thin types. However, that study also points out that really the overall differences between the thin and the thick is not that much. And that the most important thing is that flossing happens to begin with. So, if you cannot get the really thick floss in between your teeth because the contacts are too tight, and the only one that you can do is like thin Teflon type, by all means use the thin Teflon type. Doing something is better than nothing. And there are also different type of styles where there's those little pickers that you can use, just as long as it's a physical piece of string in between your teeth. Really, it does in between your teeth. Really, it doesn't matter. It just has to be a piece of string that goes in between the teeth, and that is definitely going to work the best to actually remove the bits of plaque and buildup inside there. So, water flossers. Now, water flossers are going to be a good adjunct, a good supplement to traditional flossing, but is not going to be a replacement. I feel very strongly about that. There are a lot of my patients who have, they're more susceptible to periodontal disease. And honestly, water flossers are a great adjunct to that because what it does is it helps to spray a little bit of water into the gums and helps to kind of flush out any of the bacteria. It does a really actually a pretty good job of keeping everything clean. You can even mix in a little bit of something minty like Listerine or something like that to kind of give it the kind of that fresh feeling as well. Things about water flossers is you actually don't want to point the nozzle directly into the gums. You actually want to point it perpendicular to the side of the tooth so it has a more gentle flushing, because if you point it directly into the gums, it can actually blast away and actually damage the gums a bit. So you want to be really careful about that as well. So for most people, especially younger folks or those that are not retired or anything like that, they tend not to have a lot of periodontal disease. So water flossers may not be necessary for you. So moving on, mouth rinses they work really, really, really well, but they are always not necessary, but they are also a great, adjunct as well. Really, you can get a bulk of what you need to get done with brushing and flossing, and also changing sometimes a little bit of your dietary habits, what you eat, how frequently you eat, that sort of things. I'll get to that in just a second as well. And so, mouth rinses, they work very, very well because it cleans all the other areas that brushing doesn't. The cheeks, the mouth, the palate. It does a really good job of kind of cleaning those areas. There are kind of really a couple different types of mouth rinses. There's antiseptic, which its main goals is to kill a lot of the bugs and bacteria that are inside your mouth. A great example of that is the really old school traditional green Listerine. If you take a look at the active ingredients, there are a handful of essential oils, and what it does is just helps to remove a lot of the bugs and bacteria that are inside your mouth. There are also other mouth rinses that are anti-cavity as well. Act Restore is one that has a lot of fluoride in it as well, and that one's main goal is to help kind of remineralize the teeth, but at the end of the day can be kind of replaced by brushing, because most toothpaste that will actually have some form of fluoride inside of them, minus the obviously fluoride-free ones, and the mouth rinses that have fluoride inside of them, it kind of has the same anti-cavity effect as the ones that the toothpaste that don't, or the toothpaste that have fluoride inside of them. So mouth rinses, they work very, very, very well. For a lot of people, kind of my preference would be to use a antiseptic one, because the toothpaste is kind of already doing the anti-cavity work, if you will. So like I had mentioned earlier, if you want to find out how to get over $100 off the retail price of the Oral-B IO spin brush, all you got to do is give my office a call, 503-646-4600. You could also email us at info at lifebloomdental.com, lifebloomdental.com, or you can go to our website, Portland's Dentist, that's PORTLANDS dentist.com, and just give me give us a call, shoot us an email, and say, hey, I want to see how I can get to over $100 off kind of retail of that. And so that is it. Hope this was helpful. It's always surprising to hear that there are people out there that have just never been taught how to do this, but kind of looking at it, it's kind of one of those things where it hasn't taxes or something like that. There's not at least when I went through high school, there was no class about taxes or anything like that. We just kind of had to figure it out ourselves. And it's kind of same thing with brushing. It's like, hey, I'm brushing and flossing, but there is a proper way to do it. There are ways to be more effective, like I had previously mentioned. And so if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to give us a call. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day, and we'll chat next time. All right, bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Cho Show. If you have any questions for Dr. Cho, you can reach him at www.portlandsdentist.com or by calling his office at 503-646-4600, or feel free to send him an email at info@lifebloomdental.com.